20,085 cases in total and 122 deaths. COVID is real.
We'll be burying 5 at a go. We're going to bury more. We only want to alert the public. The COVID is real, and therefore protect yourself. Observe the national protocol measures to protect yourself, protect your family.
The bulletin is coming to you live from Joy997 FM studios here in Kokomlemle at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi. Affiliates across the country including Volta Premier in Ho, A1 Radio in Bogatanga, and Radio Max in Takrade. The news is also live on myjoyonline.com. In this edition, classroom activities at Accra Girls Senior High School come to a halt as parents besiege the school to pick up the awards after 6 students tested positive for coronavirus.
What is happening to our wards here? The PT executives, nobody's talking. The chairman is not talking. The secretary, who's a teacher here, also refuses to talk. So definitely, we need to come to the school.
Also coming up, Electoral Commission says suspending voter registration exercise now is not an option on the table after more than 200 health workers penned a letter to EC boards to hold the exercise in the wake of the increasing numbers of COVID-19 cases. We'll hear from them. Top officials of the opposition NDC hold crunch meeting to decide whether to approve running mate for flag bearer John Dramani Mahama.
I appreciate many characteristics about leaders generally, but 3 interwoven strands stand out. The first is keeping the vision in constant view.
The cedi is an inherently weak currency, and I compare that to 3 other currencies.
We're live at the party's headquarters here in Accra. Government files of claims it intends to remove Auditor General Daniel Domolovo due to his probe of the controversial $1 million Kroll and Associates contract supervised by the senior minister.
But that clearly is absurd, is very speculative and conjectural. Conjectural because the Kroll matter, that's what we call. Economic independence Auditor General here is financial independence, independent performance of its function. That is all, that's what it is. And I think it must be seen as such.
We'll hear from the Deputy Attorney General. Also in sports.
And in sports, former Ghana international Derek Wharton backed GFA President Keto Kweku to improve the fortunes of Ghana football despite supporting Georgia Free during the election.
And later on Spotlight.
It is high life big time. I mean, Ghana is high life. Let's not lie to ourselves. We can do any genre of music, that's fine, but Ghana is high life.
We celebrate multi-talented musician, instrumentalist and producer Akwabua Jr., who has carved a niche for himself in the music industry as a man with multiple skills. That and more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Please stay for details. And this afternoon, classroom activities at the Accra Girls Senior High School has come to a halt as parents besieged the school earlier today to remove the awards from the facility. Now, this comes after 6 students tested positive for coronavirus. There is heavy security presence at the school as some parents have trooped there to withdraw their children. And my colleague Maxwell Ababa reports that students are agitating to be taken home by their parents.
Agitations here at the Accra Girls Senior High School were some of the students here are demanding that they are released so they go home because they have heard news about the some of their colleagues who have reportedly tested positive for the coronavirus. Some of them are standing outside. They do not want to go to their classrooms. Police was actually called in to intervene in this matter. So some of them are still here. They are manning the gate and ensuring that these students who are agitated do not get out of the school compound. I have a parent here with me.
Well, I'm here this morning to try to find out the situation because last night we picked a feed that 6 students of Accra Girls have tested positive. And I know I have a ward here. I'm a concerned parent. We have a common platform for parents. And this is the case that when we had the situation, we try to speak or to pick information from the PT executives. What is happening to our wards here? The PT executives, nobody's talking. The chairman is not talking. The secretary, who's a teacher here, also refuses to talk. So definitely, we need to come to the school and they try to speak to the school authorities.
You have a child here?
Yeah, I have a child here.
Okay.
Mohammed Umar. Well, I just had information that the children in the school had a demonstration yesterday that they are now more interested in staying there again, so they want to come home. That's why I rushed to come this morning to see what is actually going on.
Have you tried reaching the school authorities, and what have they been telling you?
I have not yet gotten. And in fact, the day we brought children, since then we have been receiving numerous information about what is going on in the school. It's very bad.
That's my colleague Maxwell Agbagba's report from the Accra Girls Senior High School. We're working the lines to be joined on the phone by officials from the Education Ministry on this particular issue, because if you watched videos of Maxwell Agbagba's report on TV, you realize that some parents are really truly agitated about the situation, and some students are also begging to be taken home by their parents. We'll get reactions from the Education Ministry shortly, as and when we have the green light to do so. You're still listening to the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. Let's move on to some other stories, because the World Health Organization has reviewed Ghana is one of the countries driving the increase in COVID-19 cases in Africa. According to WHO, 190,000 people are expected to die from the disease on the continent if the risk of exposure from persons who are infected to those who are not is not curtailed. The WHO's Technical Regional Officer for Africa, Dr. Mary Stephen, has been explaining why this is worrying in a virtual health forum on COVID-19 on Prime Morning on the Joy Prime channel.
In Africa, 10 countries are driving this outbreak, and of course we know that South Africa is reporting the highest number of cases, but Nigeria and Ghana are also part of these 10 countries. And if we don't ramp up our public health and those physical measures, we might continue to see additional number of cases on the continent. So we need to ramp up all the capacities for dictation, testing, isolation, treatment, and contact tracing, including the preventive measures by the community. So we all have a personal responsibility in addition to what government is doing to make sure that we do not expose more people to the risk of contracting COVID-19.
Dr. Stephen also dismisses the perception that the country is recording high number of cases because of increased testing.
If you have community transmission, you will pick quite a number of cases when you test. And even if you do not test, for instance, we said earlier 20%, 15 will present with severe disease and 5% with critical illness. So you have 20%, which is quite a number of cases, especially in big countries. So they will present in the hospital at the end of the day, or it will present as community deaths, which will be picked. So, but if you have a country that is reporting sporadic cases or cluster of cases, no matter how much you test, you will still not pick so many cases. So it actually depends on the kind of transmission you have in country.
That's Dr. Mary Stevens. She's the WHO's Technical Regional Officer for Africa. Now let's head into the election headquarters, because the Electoral Commission says suspending the voter registration exercise now is not an option on the table. The Commission says any move to do so will create a serious constitutional problem. Now this follows mounting calls on the EC to suspend the exercise in the wake of the increasing numbers of COVID-19 cases being recorded in the country. So the latest to call for a suspension is about 200 health professionals who have signed a chilling note to chairperson of the Commission, Madam Jean Mensah, warning her the continuous registration of voters could lead to thousands of coronavirus deaths and demand an immediate suspension of the exercise. Head of our health desk, Fred Smith, is joining me on the phone with details of that statement. Fred, what does it say?
Well, these health workers, MFR, wrote to the Electoral Commission about a week to the commencement of the voter registration exercise. And in that letter they wrote to the Electoral Commission, they warned that cases could spike if they go ahead, considering that many people in Ghana are not adhering to the safety protocols that have been announced by the government. Indeed, the Electoral Commission went ahead with the exercise, but they're saying there's now evidence to suggest that there's wanton disregard for the safety protocols at the registration centers across the country, and they think that this is inimical to the fight against the pandemic in Ghana.
Well, they're also warning that this could have an impact on the country's health systems as well.
Indeed, they say a number of their members or their colleagues have already contracted the virus. In fact, they mentioned in the hundreds who have contracted the virus and have already withdrawn from the service. And so they are currently not working, and that puts a lot of pressure on the few staff who are left. Now, they're saying that if this continues, it will worsen that case, and what we'll have is that persons who want care from health professionals may not get it, not just those who want COVID care, but persons who have other ailments and also want to see a doctor, for instance, may not be able to see them. Already, they're saying that people have started self-medicating, and that they say is very, very dangerous for us. And they present two options to the Electoral Commission. They're saying that the Electoral Commission can suspend this exercise and build a new safety protocol for the entire process so that they can restart. Otherwise, any deaths that will be recorded, and they literally put it that the blood of these persons will be on the hands of the Electoral Commission chairperson herself, Madam Jean Mensah.
Well, that's the head of our health desk, Fred Smith. So we also brought you a letter earlier written to the chairperson, Madam Jean Mensah, by the Ghana Medical Association, also saying that she and her commissioners will be held responsible if we record spike in cases as a result of the ongoing registration exercise. Well, Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Strebo Kwaku, says suspending the exercise is not an option available to the commission now. He spoke on Newsfile.
The issue is that we have discussed the issue of compiling and not compiling, and we are convening beyond every reasonable doubt that we couldn't have used the current register. That's why we are compiling new ones, and the issue have been discussed, and those I don't need to go into that again. We have gone beyond that state.
Meanwhile, the Director of Training for the Electoral Commission, Michael Buedu, says a little of over 2 million Ghanaians have been registered during the first phase of the voter registration exercise. In an interview with Maxwell Agbagba at the Richard Registration Center, Mr. Buedu urged applicants to adhere to the safety protocols.
But for the COVID protocols which has not been observed by some in certain localities, we would have chalked about 100%, but that is taking away the 10%, and it's because people are just not willing to obey simple instruction of keep your distance. That's all we're asking them to do. Keep your distance at the center. When you're done, you go home. But it's difficult for some to do. Other communities, it's okay. So we continue to educate them and let them see the reason we ask them to do so. It is for our own good. No, bear in mind what we are, the condition we find ourselves in now. So, yes, but for some places where this social distancing has not been observed, largely, the work itself, the technical aspect of the work has been excellent.
Michael Buedu is Director of Training for the Electoral Commission. Now let's head to the Bono East region and specifically to the Techiman South constituency, where military personnel have been deployed at registration centers to ensure registrants observe social distancing protocols. Correspondent Anas Sabete joins us on the line with details. So earlier in that audio we just played, we heard about some scuffle. Describe to us how the process has been so far with the military's intervention, Anas.
Prior to the deployment of the military, there were a bit of confusion here, and especially the Gombala electoral area, which happens to be one of the most densely populated areas within the Techiman South constituency. Exchanges of words, and at the point, it was nearly a very unfortunate thing. But the deployment of the military was timely as their intervention saved the situation. As I speak to you now, the situation here is very calm. I've moved to about 3 different areas within the same electoral area, and the exercise is ongoing without any hitches since the deployment of the military, who have been on and off the scene from time to time.
That's my colleague Anas Sabet there reporting from the Bono East region. Now to the Volta region now, where some 14 persons who allegedly entered Ghana illegally to apply for the voter's identification card were arrested by police in Petoy. A team led by the Volta Regional NPP Chairman Makafu Wonya intercepted the Hyundai van with registration number GR3224M conveying the suspect. The suspects were eventually bailed following an intervention by the NDC officials there. Fred Kwame Asare has been following this. He joins us on the line. So Fred, what can you report on these suspects and the registration exercise so far?
Well, MFR, the incident or the arrest happened yesterday in Petoy, where the NPP Regional Chairman Makafu Wonya and his team, who were monitoring the registration exercise in Petoy, intercepted the van. They intercepted the van around Avusagba Kofe in Petue. And then upon interrogation, the driver mentioned that they were going to a funeral. And then they asked, where is the funeral? He couldn't mention the venue. But then later on, the occupants of the vehicle mentioned that they were going to register for the voter's ID card. While they were interrogating the occupants of the car, residents and some members of the NDC tried to prevent the NPP members from effecting the arrest. So there was a bit of scuffle, there was an exchange of blows, but then peace was later restored. And then the NPP regional chairman brought in a team of police personnel who escorted the van to the police headquarters. So when they got to the police headquarters, the police officers again interrogated the driver, asking him where he was sending the people to, and then how come he got the people on board his vehicle. And he mentioned that somebody called him the previous day, that was on Saturday, to convey the people from Ziofi to Petue. So they asked, does he know the person? He said no, he doesn't know the person. Can he produce the number that called him? He said no, he can't produce the number. But then initial assessment of the 14 people who were on board the vehicle revealed that the leader of them, they mentioned one man who is the leader, who is also an ex-military person. He produced an old passport. Okay. He is actually the leader. So he produced an old Ghanaian passport. Another person also had a voter ID card on him. That is the 2012 voter ID card. While another person also had the Ghana card. So out of the 14, 3 of them had some form of identification. Okay. So they.
Well, that's my colleague Fred Kwame reporting from the Volta region. We're here to the Ashanti region now, where the Kumasi Metropolitan COVID-19 team is drawing attention to inadequate shelter at registration centers, which officials say is contributing to the breach of social distancing. We can hear from Dr. Ernest Kwaku.
It is this protocol aspect from regard to COVID-19 where we have some challenges, and we are still continuing to educate our people so they can know how to behave very well in these times.
Dr. Ernest Kwaku is the Kumasi Metropolitan COVID-19 Team Technical Advisor. This is your election headquarters, and top officials of the opposition National Democratic Congress NDC are today holding a crunch meeting to decide whether to approve the running mate for the flag bearer John Dramani Mahama. This decision will complete the party's ticket for the 2020 polls and set the stage for heated policy debate with their contenders Nana Adodankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia of the NPP. We will take you live to the NDC headquarters shortly, but here's a news desk report capturing persons believed to be frontrunners in the race.
Long before the governing NPP selected its presidential candidate, John Mahama had been given the nod to lead the NDC in the 2020 polls. But the MPP would be the first to announce its complete ticket when President Akufo-Addo named Dr. Bawumia as his running mate.
My choice of running mate for the 4th time, the excellent, hard-working Vice President, Alhaji Mahamadou Bawumia. With your endorsement, the party will complete its presidential ticket, a feat that appears to elude some of our opponents. We have no such difficulty.
The NDC flag bearer, John Mahama, is reported to have held a series of meetings in the last few weeks to settle on his running mate.
I appreciate many characteristics about leaders generally, but 3 interwoven strands stand out. The first is keeping the vision in constant view.
Former Education Minister Professor Joy997FM is reported to be a frontrunner.
My experience working closely with His Excellency John Mahama has led me to really respect these characteristics about him. As a result, I have come to appreciate him as a leader of humility and integrity.
The others are economist Dr. Nimoy Thompson, who previously headed the NDPC.
The CD is an inherently weak currency, and I compare that to 3 other currencies, the Naira, the shilling of Kenya, and the South African rand.
The others are Dr. Kobena Dofo, Professor Kwesi Boche, Alex Segbefia, Alex Mode, and others. The opposition party would certainly be looking at picking a candidate who can boost the party's drive to win the 2024.
That's a wrap on the main contenders as we have it. And let's go over to the NDC headquarters now. My colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson is joining us live. Kwesi, what hierarchy of the party is meeting and what are the names that have come up from where you are?
So currently is the National Council of Elders meeting at the moment. And I've been told that right after this meeting, they will invite the former President John Dramani Mahama to the National Executive Committee meeting where they are going to communicate the decision to approve or disapprove the nomination that we have heard. Already some names were thrown about Dr. Nimoy Thompson, Dr. Kobna Dufour, and Professor Nana Juno Popajima. And we are told that, according to my source in the meeting actually, the party is seriously considering Professor Popajima. And the reason is quite simple, that she has no credibility issues, she has no scandal, and while serving as the Minister of Education, she spearheaded the Community Day Senior School project by the NDC at the time, which went down well with those within the academia. And so she has constituency within the academia that her ticket, in addition to John Dramani Mahama, would advance the electoral fortunes of the NDC, and also the gender ticket as well, being the first female running mate to be selected by the main opposition NDC. So these are the reasons why they are considering. And if I can tell you that my source says she is the one leading the ticket, and by 2 p.m. the party will officially announce that Prof. Juno Popajima has been selected as a running mate to partner John Dramani Mahama into the December polls.
Well, I'm sure you have party faithful gathering at the headquarters as we speak. What have they been telling you in terms of their reaction to the name that has come up?
Well, some of them here that I spoke to a while ago tell me that they believe in all the names that have come up. They are competent and credible, and for them, any name that the party settles on, they will be willing to support the candidate to ensure that at least the former president wins the December poll. So they don't have any problem with the candidate. They're hoping that whoever emerges the running mate, they'll give him or her their full support to ensure they win the election.
That's my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson reporting live from the NDC headquarters. Head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, joins me in studio. So from the reliable sources, I'm sure you've also picked up that is Professor Jane Nano Pukwajiman hopefully will be the running mate. I'm sure you've been digging, and what have we picked up?
I mean, my surprise is when I heard party sources say it's Jane Nano Mensah. I thought if you look at the real reasons why they need a running mate at this time, looking at what happened in 2016, I wouldn't have settled on her. But if John Mahama makes a decision, there must be a very good reason for it. I mean, going into this, I thought, the other, people, honestly, the other name I've heard today and in Baniaban last 24, 48 hours, Nimoy Thompson, he himself, he's surprised that his name is out there. I mean, I'm on the same platform with him where he saw the first article. He was surprised that his name was there. But Jane Nana Mensah, the key question for me is, can she help John Mahama win the 2020 elections? So all the candidates, you have to look at them within that prison. They must win the elections. Who will best help John Mahama win the elections? Is it Jane Nana Mensah? I doubt very much, because you have to galvanize the NDC's base. The 1 million vote they didn't get. Can she help John Mahama galvanize and excite the base to come and turn out and vote? I doubt if that's the case. But then let's see. It's a huge gamble. And must that person be a match to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia? It's important. It's important because the way the NPP used Bawumia in the last 2 elections showed that they want him to be the guy who goes out there and takes on the debt and shields Nanado, right? I mean, if that's what's going to happen again this year, then you need somebody else who can also do same and screen John Mahama, so he can focus on doing the big things on the ground, whilst the running mate does that. And if you have a woman as a running mate, that poses a challenge. It's a good challenge for the NPP, because can Dr. Bawumia attack her the same way she would done? It will not be her person. It will be about the issue. I know, but it's just tricky. It's tricky. You can't take that away. The way I'll deal with you is different from the way I'll deal with her. It's those gender dynamics will play. And they have 51% of the population is female in Ghana, right? And so that will play a role. Will the women necessarily vote for her and John Mahama because she's a woman? That, again, it's a big if. It doesn't necessarily translate. But because she's a first, if she is indeed she gets a nod, that is a great unknown. Nobody has seen this before in our body politic. And so, again, it's a big risk. If he wins, if he helps them win, it will be a big surprise. But if you gamble and you lose, it's also going to be a spectacular failure.
Well, 2 p.m. is just a few hours away, and we'll wait for that. This is your election headquarters. We'll take a quick break at this point. When we return, government fights off claims it intends to remove Auditor General Daniel Domelevo due to his probe of the controversial $1 million Kroll and Associate contract supervised by the senior minister. We also have Spotlight coming up, where we celebrate multi-talented musician, instrumentalist and producer Akwabwa Jr., who's carved a niche for himself in the music industry as a man with multiple skills.
Wouldn't be I so we are quite a four. A president Benabizua, a yes, Mamma, if you ask him with your friend, now, dear.
Which is high life big time. I mean, Ghana is high life. Let's not lie to ourselves. We can do any genre of music, that's fine, but Ghana is high life.
Hello. Why you bed? It's 5 a.m. Of course I bed. Lockdown.
Guy, some series that they watch for Netflix. Too much.
You woke up to come in.
Which can't wake up? I've been watching from last night too.
You have data, eh?
Vodafone Adaroma. The too much bundles now be too much. See, Jock, make an ad screener to the Skype call, then buy you guys a story.
Too much data is now double the data at the same price. So you can stay home and stay connected on Vodafone with too much data for the day and too much bonus from midnight till 4 a.m. That's double Ankasa. Terms and conditions apply. Dial *700# subscribe now.
Ready?
DSTV and the leaks I can see no bar. Me say the big boys are back.
Is your heart racing yet? I know mine is.
Yeah, crowd near the live sports papa bro. Ginger that couch muna budget with favorite stars here. Well, we are sporting leaks I can see papa no nyina so.
Sergio Aguero has conspired in the final. Cristiano Ronaldo! Something special for his hat-trick goal. Messi does it! A priceless goal from Lionel Messi! Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Central DSTV Lutum, Nimu Statia was support your money now or Biaba Cope. DSTV, Live Sports Sieba Cope.
You think your internet service is fast? Wait till you experience Vodafone's ultra-fast fiber broadband. That's right. Vodafone Fiber Broadband gives you 10 times the internet speed you already get. Open a whole new world of possibilities for the family as everyone gets to do so much more online at the same time on a wider bandwidth. Watch TV, take online courses, play video games, stream, download. The list is endless. Available in Accra, Tabelenke, Achimota, Adentan, Islegon, Adabraka, Adrinkano, Ashoman, Airport Residential, Cantonment, Wager, Abudome, Botre, Dansuman, Jolu, Hacho, and so many more communities. Visit fbb.vodafone.com.gh or any of our retail shops nationwide to check availability in your area and apply now. The future is exciting. Ready?
Welcome back to the Midday News. Time now for sports.
And as Ghana International, Derek Boateng has thrown his support behind GFA President Keto Kweku to better the lot of Ghana football. Boateng supported former FA Vice President George Afriyie in last year's GFA elections, but he believes the growth of Ghana football is more important than the politics.
For me, at the end of the day, we want Ghana football to go well. It doesn't matter who is there right now. Now we have Kate. I think everyone will have to support him. Even myself, I support him. The next day I call Kate and I congratulate him for the great job, and I say that I'm praying for him to make our football well for us, because if football is good in our country, we all will be good, because football is our life,
Derek Boateng there. He was speaking on Joy Sports Link. And government is today fighting off claims it intends to remove Auditor General Daniel Domelevo from office. The accusation has been that Mr. Domelevo's probe of the controversial $1 million Kroll & Associates contract supervised by the senior minister has made government unhappy. Godfred Yeboadami says the president has the power to direct the Auditor General to take his accumulated leave. He spoke on the Spur Morning Show.
This whole theory about the Auditor General being a different category of public servant is erroneous, it's wrong, it's misleading and must be rejected. And I think that the public ought to be educated properly.
So how about the EC chair? How about the EC chair?
So again, it brings up the issue whether the kind of independence as according to the EC chair is institutional independence or functional independence. And I'm saying that it is institutional independence. The EC chair, the research commissioner, the NCC boss, together in regards to the Superior Court of Education and the judiciary.
That's the Deputy Attorney General, Godfred Yeboadami. Time for Spotlight.
Yes,
Becky.
Today we're celebrating Akwabwa Jr. He is a singer-songwriter and he needs to be celebrated. Last night he was on Joy Prime Present and it was a fantastic moment. We want to relive that here on the Midday News.
And that's how we wrap up this edition. I leave you with that. I am MFR Pau. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com.
Gladstone Kwabena Akwabwa Jr., known by his stage name as Akwabwa Jr., is a Ghanaian multi-talented singer, songwriter, instrumentalist, and producer from Mampong, Beposo.
From church, I learned how to sing from church. I learned how to play the keyboard from church. I was part of the choir, and then I came back to Accra. I came to join a band called Joyful Saints.
Okay.
By then, and the Qualisanteji. My bro.
Kwabwa Jr. launched his music career in 2013, and a year later released his first official single, I Do Love You, which enjoyed massive airplay across the country and other international platforms.
You are the only one you are down. I wanna be with you forever.
The talented artist, who in April 2010 won Songwriter of the Year at the 11th edition of the Ghana Music Awards, wrote Kofi Saponsa Yeyinyom, which became an instant hit. He wrote Da Keda for Becca, which also became a massive hit and won awards too.
Music is everything to me because if you know my background, from my grandfather to my father to myself, I breathe music, I eat music, it's everything. I sleep with music.
Coming